I went to a gender reveal party recently. It turns out I'm a man. They're not inviting me back. And then I went to the OBGYN. And the doctor turned me away and she said it's called gyno for a reason. Can't catch a break. Babies. You know.
I snuck
What do we
in.
got? Oh, yeah. And then I went to the bookstore the other day with my friend, right? And he asked me if I've read War and Peace. And I'm like, yeah. And then he asked me if I read Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. And I said, sure. And then he asked if I had read Infinite Jest. And I said, yeah. He seemed really impressed. But it was all right there on the covers. And then we went to the curiosity shop, looked at everything, and when we came back outside, the sign just said shop. It's a curiosity joke. In case you were wondering.
What you said here?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see.
Was.
Oh, yeah. By the way, if I ever have a kid, right? I'm gonna tell them about the birds and the birds, or the flowers and the bees. Like, you guys know birds and bees don't fuck, right? Found that out the hard way. Anyway. Alright, so I'll leave you guys with one more thing. It's pretty good. Alright, so when my mom was pregnant with me, she had this hilarious inside joke. Thanks. Hey, at Case Quattro in Peckville, 7 p.m. Come check it out if anyone is interested in seeing hilarious people talk on a stage with a microphone. Comedy show. There's gonna be 5 comics. Come check it out. All right, thank you, everybody. I went to a gender reveal party recently. It turns out I'm a man. They're not inviting me back. And then I went to the OBGYN. And the doctor turned me away and she said it's called gyno for a reason. Can't catch a break. Babies. You know.
I snuck
What do we
in.
got? Oh, yeah. And then I went to the bookstore the other day with my friend, right? And he asked me if I've read War and Peace. And I'm like, yeah. And then he asked me if I read Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. And I said, sure. And then he asked if I had read Infinite Jest. And I said, yeah. He seemed really impressed. But it was all right there on the covers. And then we went to the curiosity shop, looked at everything, and when we came back outside, the sign just said shop. It's a curiosity joke. In case you were wondering.
What you said here?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see.
Was.
Oh, yeah. By the way, if I ever have a kid, right? I'm gonna tell them about the birds and the birds, or the flowers and the bees. Like, you guys know birds and bees don't fuck, right? Found that out the hard way. Anyway. Alright, so I'll leave you guys with one more thing. It's pretty good. Alright, so when my mom was pregnant with me, she had this hilarious inside joke. Thanks. Hey, at Case Quattro in Peckville, 7 p.m. Come check it out if anyone is interested in seeing hilarious people talk on a stage with a microphone. Comedy show. There's gonna be 5 comics. Come check it out. All right, thank you, everybody.
For a month.
To make maneuvers with these folks. What else? But believing that me so warm.
Show.
Hey yo, now just wave your hands in the air. And just wave your hands in the air. And get drunk, get drunk, get drunk, get drunk, yeah. I said wave your hands in the air.
Got you, P.
Let's go. Can we get the show on the road or what? Can we get something started over here or what? What we doing over here?
In poolside, I'm putting my hands up, getting my dicks up. No more hoop ride, I'm calling my friends up. We getting our ends up, and I want to be with you. Just fucking my ones.
Hey yo, check it.
Yo, 3-course breakfast. We in the Himalayan mountains with our own satellites sticking at us. No holds barred, even if they arrest us. Your little tool in your jewelry don't impress us. I feel huge, yes I'm gigantic. Caviar and lobster, I'll pass on a sandwich. Things romantic with something Hispanic. Traveling to Italy, transatlantic. See why they trying to get at me? Shit I know already, cause I went to the Lotus from the double O Chevy. Bitches is taking photos in my signature heavy. Buying me gifts, tell me they want me to go steady. But I'm on focus, yeah wifey. Take notice how they the whole world on the sight. Flashing lights, miraculous ice and price. Taking Tuesday off just to go out the sights. And this might be my last chance, so I'm rolling with the punches. Homegirls cracking Dutches, no more lack of subject. Everything makes sense. Crib paid in full, no reason to pay rent. Hey yo, Jamie, I got this. Pull up third, tell them the limo's outside, taking them hostage.
Birthday.
I see you, told you it was a process. I'm not one, say no mas.
And I just wanna be waiting for table, sitting poolside, putting my hands up, getting my dicks up. No more hoop ride, I'm calling my friends up. We getting our ends up, and I want to be with you. Just starting my ones. Check it. Hold on, I'm going for my board real quick. Yo, I went from double dragons to double bags for loot. Building the stash, my crew chilling at fashion shoots. More than a passion is something I had to do to put my daughter in school and give my mother good news. Shout to my brothers for helping me when I was stuck with the blues. It's like we got nothing to lose. 40 for table is set to perfection and clinch across the 80 for pool. It's like we got nothing to do but like the bird, sipping on. It's no walking over.
Yo, and that's where I wanna be. With money in front of me, my honey inside of me, give me kisses, she ride with me. We trading commodities, excelling my quality. I see it inside of me, the one that I try to be.
Will I be missed if they never say bye to me? Even if they don't, I feel the loving inside of me. And I just wanna be 40 for table. We sitting poolside, putting my hands up. No more hoop ride, I'm calling my friends up. We getting our hands up. And I want to be with you. Just counting my ones, counting my ones. Yeah, I'm just living my life. I'm just living my life.
Hey yo, how y'all feeling tonight?
Hey, look, we get right into the next joint. It's okay, cause you know what? They both put their whole setups here to make this happen tonight. So the bar will make some money, the restaurant will make some money. They brought their talent here, so the whole establishment can have a good time, right? So let's do that. Let's give it equal here. Let's get the equality going. Two drinks and he's foolish. Heat under the car seat, you can't cool it. Beach bum in the summer, winter, green tenant, rolling trees stronger than that. Sailing through these spinach. My sidekick a pothead, she the real chemist. Feeling the coffee after sitting for a brief sentence. This rhyme always hitting up a liquor store. I know I hurt my soul, so forgive me, Lord. Got bitches around me that'll kiss you up and pick your pocket. My niggas stick you up, they might just put you in a box, kid. Obnoxious, now I'm just on my shit. Coming from a place where the highest paid cops live boxes. Blackjack traded in my backpack. They hate him, but that's fact. They hate him, and that's that. The Playboy boy from New York's go live. Take a shot from me worldwide. Yeah, feels like every day we get sick of y'all. Swam when I'm sitting up a liquor store. When you leave the shows, gotta get some more. The sounds of my show. But I've been hustling all night and all day, and I still ain't getting rich, y'all. Swam when we sitting up a liquor store. Joe. I was awakened by an angel fleeing Satan's prison. Show me the truth and ancient wisdom, how it came the distance. How we connected with the stars through the fourth dimension, but the attached ourselves and lost all comprehension. You believe in yourself if you got no other choice. I'm in debt with the rhythm without I have no other voice. So rejoice that the hood raised the niggas so good. I do this for the families rooting during the flood. I do it for the love.
Where the drunkards drink deeply from cups full of nothingness, ghost lovers laugh at the games that they play. And the moments do somersaults into eternity, cling to their coattails and beg them to stay, saying I got nothing to hide. Illusions projected on walls made of Tiffany minuets to a sad, sad song. And the harlequin mandolins harmonize helplessly, hoping that endlessly won't last too long. And they're praying that their God hasn't died. I see her before me in a dress made of moonlight. Teardrops like diamonds roll slow down her face. And her arms, they surround me like chains made of velvet. And the demons fall faithfully into their place. And the river runs with jewels. Now the morning lies open, the night went quite quickly. But memory harmlessly fractures and fades. And the poets do push-ups on carpets of rubber, full loudly they laugh at a joke that's been made. And the wise men speak like a fool.
It's all clean cut. Look at him. Nice job. Yeah, you can just kick that shit out of here. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit.
Actually, I'll move before. Okay. Which one? I got it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
You take the mic out if you want.
Oh, that's okay. I was just gonna find out. But hey, everybody, I'm Ryan J. Hi. Thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks to all the other performers. It's pretty cool. Armand brought his whole family with him today. And they all got to sit here and listen to him making jokes about masturbating. That's neat. Bold move. I actually tried the same thing. I told my dad, like, hey, Armand's family comes out and watches them. And my dad, lives in Mountaintop. It's like half an hour away. But he said that he could be disappointed in me from home. So I'm just going to send him a video later. And everybody give it up for my dad. If not for him, I probably wouldn't get on stage. It's not that he instilled me with bravery or anything. Just if my childhood was happier, I probably wouldn't be funny. Anyway, all right. So excuse me, guys. I am going to be trying some new stuff. So I'm going to be reading off the paper today. But let's see. And basically, the other thing I wanted to say was Brian, when he was telling us what was going on earlier, he goes, "Oh yeah, those two young men are going up, and then that guy." And I'm 32, but I'm in this weird area where he almost said young men along with David and Julian, and just thought no, which is rough because millennials as a generation, we're almost there. The last millennials are going to be turning 30 in about 5 years. This is a weird time because I've been young my whole life, and I'd like to keep doing that, please. But something that makes me feel better is that at least we're in good company. we're in company at least. You know, all millennials are getting old. We're almost all 30. We're no longer the young people. Well, like Justin Bieber's going to have gray hair soon. You know, if anybody remembers Tommy Pickles, he has a full head of hair and a full-time job now, but still can't afford his own apartment. You know, rents with Chucky. And that just sucks because, like, you know, you got to imagine that his dad is probably like, oh, well, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, cut out that Starbucks and avocado toast. And, like, Stu and Dee Dee Pickles had a house with 2 kids on one salary, and it was the salary of a shitty toy inventor. The 90s were fucking wild. And one more thing about Tommy that I found out, he still wears the diaper. Yeah, apparently it was a long search on Craigslist to find somebody else who was into the same stuff as him, but you know, we're not here to kink shame, and besides, a baby's got to do what a baby's got to do. And in his case, a baby's got to do whatever his mommy Dawn says. Yeah, and the Rugrats aren't the only ones who are having some trouble right now. You know, the Power Rangers, you might have heard they had to change their name to the Power Chair Rangers. And then Cat Dog are dead. Bad news, sorry to break it to you, but you know, you met Cat Dog in 1998, and every cat and dog that you knew in 1998 is dead now. So they don't stand a chance. Along with all your Neopets. Difference is, at least they didn't die alone. You know, some of your Neopets had the other ones to die with them, and they all, I'm sure, reassured each other that their loving master was coming home any day to feed them part of that giant omelet. Let's see, what else have I got? Oh, and then just a confession, I do still log into Neopets, which is kind of this thing that I'm about to get into. Like, I do some things that seem really young and some things that seem really old. Like, you know, I log into my Neopets still fairly regularly. But there's an asterisk on that. I log into Neopets to go onto the Neopets stock market, which is kind of like I cut all the fun out of it and just go to this cool this fun website for like the least fun part. But I have 15 million Neo points, so you suck it. And along those lines of doing things very old and very young, you know, it's kind of like an everyday thing. Like I woke up this morning 6:30 with back pain already, which if I do nothing for too many hours in a row, my body starts to hurt, and that just seems like a design flaw to me. But then I wake up at 6:30 and it's to my my alarm sound, so get some Spice Girls or classic rock as we have to call them now. And if that bothers you, just think about it for a second, because Spice World came out 25 years ago, and if you go back to the 90s and play what came out 25 years ago, it'd be Led Zeppelin. Spice Girls are classic rock, it's a fact. But then, of course, change out of my Pokemon pajamas into my costume. And I can only describe this as like professional, but I definitely look like the cool English teacher that lets the kids curse. And then after doing that, I go and get some coffee so I can make it through my day, and then I come home and I watch cartoons until I pass out so I can do it all over again. I'm almost like one of those movies where a child has gotten stuck in an adult's body. Like that's just the millennial experience now. That used to be a curse that could fill 90 minutes of screen time. Now it's just, nope, it's just a whole generation of people growing up in a world that has broken every promise to us and destroyed every ounce of hope.